champion chainsaw carver as he cuts and shapes animals of all sizes out of wood. Hello everyone, I'm Don Jacobs and we're in Wapwallop in Luzerne County, and we're gonna go wild with Discover NEPA with the chainsaw artist. And when I say that, by the time this story's over, you're going to say, oh my goodness, he made it happen. Here's Dennis Beach and a chainsaw. So did you just wake up one day and say, I think I'm gonna grab a chainsaw and I'm gonna make a bear or an eagle? Like, how did you get into something like this?
No, I've been doing this for 40 years.
Wow.
And started like really simple because I didn't really have any art training and I really didn't have much chainsaw training either. I just started with a smiley face and just worked its way up to three-dimensional, and at that time I was young and full of a lot of energy. Now I sleep in.
You sleep in, but you're preparing for competition. Are you a competitive carver too?
Yes. I usually only do 1 to 2 competitions a year. In the spring, I was up in British Columbia, Canada, and carved the big cedar trees up there. And then at the end of the week here, I go out to Montana, Libby, Montana, which I won last year.
Okay.
I think there was like 20 carvers there, so.
So the pieces around here, you're telling me a lot of them are practice pieces. You actually have to do one, make sure it's good, and then mentally take that with you to a competition?
Right, because you got to see what works, what looks good, and then you got to see what actually doesn't work that great, and which maybe you want to change it, and for the competition. And plus, if you know the piece really good, you can, when you start the competition, you could just take right off and just right on cutting the big cuts where you're not questioning each cut.
What kind of wood do you usually carve in?
Here around home, I usually use white pine. Up in Canada, we had the cedar, the big cedar. In Montana, we usually carve spruce, the real big spruce trees out there.
How long do you have in a competition to make that kind of thing?
3.5 days. 3.5 days, and I've got 2 days into it already. That's 3.5 days complete with all the color and the finish coating and everything on it.
That was going to be my last question. When you have it, you get to paint what you think what you want to highlight, right?
Yeah, yep.
And then what is the actual finished coat? What makes it so shiny? What makes it so durable?
For my coloring, I use a stain, an exterior, like a deck stain, and then on top I use a spar urethane or spar varnish, which is just their exterior clear coat, which gives them a little bit of a shine, makes them look finished.
All right, first of all, you're incredible. Oh, you're incredible. I have just seen the nose come to life. I have just seen the eyes come to life. And with all this, I still can't get how you visualize this.
Well, it's tough. It's tough sometimes, especially with like moose. I don't do that many moose.
Right.
But before I started just doing the final touch-ups here, I didn't like that. I didn't like that moose head at all.
Okay.
Because it was off.
Right.
But it only has to be off by just a little bit.
So if you continued working on this to where you're happy, how much more time would you have in this, you think?
If I do a quick job on it, I'm thinking maybe like 2-3 days.
Wow.
But to do nice,
right,
could be a week. Of course, I'm partially retired and I'm working at home.
What are you going to make for us today?
Going to do a bear in a stump, where it's like a bear that's popping his head up out of a hollow log. And they're a really popular piece, and I've got those set in my mind. I don't have to think much. I can just start carving those. The log's leaning forward, so the bear's going to go into the lean, and he's going to be looking this way.
Okay.
And I think probably his body will be a little bit more to the right.
Okay.
So when you turn the head a little bit, it adds like movement to the sculpture.
All right, so I'm going to get out of your way and let you do this. Go right ahead. I'm getting out of your way, buddy.
For many years, I did most of my work out on the road and going from fair to fair, putting on entertainment shows where each entertainment show produced a wood carving. So at the end of the week, there was a lot of wood carvings and would be sold mostly at an auction. Kind of slipping into semi-retirement now, so I'll do some work here at home.
Is it a popular thing? Like, how many people in the world are actually wood carvers in a competition thing like that?
It's getting to be more and more. There's like, the more carvers there are, then it adds more interest to it, and then that just kind of, it's like snowballing.
Okay.
You know, more and more people.
You have no book that you follow or anything, right?
No, I've been doing this for 40 years, so whatever you do for 40 years, you got to get good at it sooner or later, you know. But yeah, it just comes second nature.
Somebody's going to ask me, well, is that the kind of guy I could hire if I have a big tree that I just cut down and left a giant stump? Do you go on location like that?
Yeah, I've been going on location. I don't travel quite as far as I used to travel to do the on-site tree stumps in people's yards, but there's a lot of demand for it right here in Northeast Pennsylvania.
That's amazing. What?
Thank you.
You don't know, I just watched a bear form out of a piece of wood.
Yeah, it's quick with these little bears.
Oh my goodness.
And that's about how far I take it with the chainsaw.
Okay.
And then I'll come in with some sanders and sand it down and give it more of a finished look.
You got the
And put
darks
eyes
in
in.
the ears. Oh my God, Dennis, that's awesome. Dennis puts down the chainsaw, collects a few different tools of the trade, and makes the face come to life. Every move he makes creates a different texture and color.
You could spend hours on doing facial expression, you know, the eyes and such. We're just gonna keep things moving right along here today.
He thinks of every detail, from the stain to the nose, and especially the eyes. It comes from years of experience.
My favorite saying is, pick your battles wisely.
Yeah.
You know, where do you want to put the most time in? And I think right there on the eyes like that, that is an excellent investment of time to put that little bit of extra detail in, where he's kind of looking off to the side like that.
It took Dennis 16 minutes with the chainsaw and another 10 minutes or so with the other tools. And out of a log, he created this, a masterpiece. I watched it happen. Dennis took that log, turned it into a bear, just like he took the log and turned it into a canoe with bears and a moose. The guy's an artist, to say the least. Now, for this episode and all the other episodes of Go Wild with Discover NEPA, be sure to check us out at discovernepa.com or subscribe on YouTube.